Hello, my friends. So I have a couple of ideas that are already tried and proven that can create more health than sickness, more life than death, more riches than debt, more abundance than scarcity. Doesn't that sound like something that would be really great individually as well as for our culture and for our kids? And so forth. Of course it does. So stick around for this whole video. I'll keep it as short as possible, but just hear me out. So I've been spending a fair amount of time in medical facilities and hospitals and other medical type places for quite a few years now. Been around a lot, have had a lot of conversations with a lot of people, a lot of different professionals. The medical community, they're made up of people who are really very wonderful, very talented and skilled at what they do, and who genuinely want to help people. But the medical community at the same time has caused more needless death and pain and destruction and misery and suffering than anything on planet Earth. War has nothing on the medical community. The nuclear bombs that were dropped on Japan has nothing compared to what the medical community, the death and destruction and pain and suffering that they've caused, made up of by people that are really wonderful people. How does that work, right? Well, let me give you one example, and then I'll move on with this. But today, for example, I was at the hospital for various reasons, and I'm hearing these doctors, great people, talking to people, whether it be patients or other staff members. Oh, this is just part of aging. Your knees are going to go bad. Your back is going to go bad. Your shoulders are going to go bad. You're going to get a gut. And, that's just, that's part of life and that's part of aging. While they're chugging a Mountain Dew, this doctor, this registered nurse and so forth, and eating a plate full of pork fat, stuff like that. Hospital food. Oh man, it's amazing how someone can go into a hospital, and if you have to be a resident of the hospital, you could walk out of there more malnourished than you were when you went in. That's a fact. Anyway, moving right along. I'm thinking to myself as I'm listening to these doctors, they're leading by example. Oh my God. Don't these people see the ginormous rhinoceros in the middle of the teeny tiny little living room? Of course, you can absolutely expect to have all those problems go on, basically to grow old and become decrepit and all crotchety and all those things, because you eat and you live, you behave that way every day. You're totally unfaithful with your time and with food and everything else. So of course that's going to happen. But here's where it really gets me, because everybody has the freedom to do what they want. I have no problem with that. It's when people aren't in the know. This is a medical professional, someone who has an oath to do no harm, and they're harming you every day, perhaps unknowingly because they don't know any better. But the word organic isn't even part of their vocabulary. If they get a side of veggies with their pork fat and their Mountain Dew, it's very heavily steamed, and odds are it's not organic, and odds are they put salt, and odds are the salt isn't crystallized salt, but it's the salt that has sand and a bunch of harmful stuff. Salt that causes high blood pressure and destroys your health and creates endothelial cell problems. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't line up. But my problem is that these doctors, very smart people, when they're talking to their patients, they just say, this is the way it's going to be. There's no mention of a better way to do it that's actually in alignment for what they're supposed to be in the business of, and that is helping people get healthy. They don't know anything about it. I don't think they're intentionally doing it. They just don't know. They don't talk about organic food. They don't talk about juicing. They don't talk about nutrient extraction. They don't even talk about the importance of nutrition in general. They just say it's important to get something on your belly. And they have somebody that's been through, surgery. So they're post-surgical. Their body has just been through a war zone, basically, a traumatic event that happened in their body. And they're given chemical preservatives disguised as Jell-O or crackers. They're not even given food, let alone superfood nutrition to help them with that recovery event to heal and recover. They're given really god-awful stuff. And they're not even told about nutrition and the importance it plays. And I can remember, I asked a registered nurse once about nutrition and its role in helping the gastrointestinal tract. And she said, oh, that doesn't make any difference. Nutrition, it really doesn't matter with your GI tract. And I just sort of stared at her like a deer in the headlights. I couldn't believe what came out of her mouth. I mean, they are really dumb about nutrition. And I also have a problem. Not only are they not informing their patients about nutrition and things like that and the role that it does play over the body and its ability to heal and recover and take care of itself, but the medical community is extremely deadly arrogant. They almost never say, I don't know. They just don't. And another problem I have with them is their referral network is just within each other, their own tiny box of medical people and facilities. Medical people don't have a referral network that goes outside of the medical community. They largely do not talk to naturopathic doctors or chiropractors or plant-based whole food nutritionists. They do have a referral network with some nutritionists, but only the ones that are inside the medical community, ones that prescribe dairy, when it's scientifically proven that dairy does not have health benefits. It's very bad for you. I mean, whether you believe in that or not, it's not even a question of belief. Meat, however, is a different thing. So I'm not going to go there with all of that. But, some people actually do require animal proteins and some people are best with no animal proteins. But dairy is absolutely not something that is made for human consumption. Nature made dairy as a perfect food for calves to grow them from 60 pounds to 600 pounds in 6 months. The DNA structure isn't even close to that of people. But anyway, to get back to that particular point, even the nutritionists that they refer people to when it happens is with inside the medical community that have very bad nutritional advice. Very bad. And I'm not telling you what to do, not to follow them. So this video is not made to undermine your doctor or other healthcare professional. You need to be a free thinking human being, just so you know, okay? So those are all problems that I have with the medical community. They're very arrogant. They almost never say, I don't know. They don't have a referral network that's anything other than dangerous because it's only with inside their little box. So there's really no teamwork with any other community. And that makes you suffer unless you do your own research and you stand up for yourself. And all those other aforementioned issues that I have with them, not even talking about nutrition, the importance it plays. I mean, for goodness sake, there's known cures for cancers of all kinds and all stages. And if you're in a medical facility and they so much as mention those things like the Gerson therapy, like the Living Foods Institute and things like that, people with a track record of using nature to heal people, not drugs, if they even mention those facilities, they could lose their license to practice medicine. The American Medical Association can take it away. It's completely illegal to talk about anything, any treatment that doesn't require pharmaceutical grade medication. Why is that? We don't get to decide for ourselves? My God, this is our lives, the quality of our life and our life itself. We could die. We do die. The nuclear bombs in Japan, when we dropped them on Japan, we took out a couple 100,000 people. That's nothing compared to how many people the medical community takes out of this world on a yearly basis or even a monthly basis. That's not even a drop in the bucket. It's worse than the nuclear bomb. It's worse than war, the negative impact that the medical community has on people. It really is. However, the medical community is absolutely needed because let's say you're in a car accident, you need to be put back together. They're the genius among geniuses when it comes to that. But when it comes to anything chronic or long-term, lifestyle, pathetic, and fatal, and they can only get away with it because most people don't stand up for themselves. Most people take this with some humility, but most of us act very dim, dumb, slow, stupid, arrogant, and egocentric ourselves. They kind of represent us. That's the way that it is so far. So let's move on to the solutions after I've ranted enough, right? I mean, how can this shit happen? It's it's unbelievable to me. Okay, so number one, if you are really overweight, and you got arthritis, and you got type 2 diabetes, and you got these lifestyle things going on, whatever, that's your body giving you feedback. At that point, yelling at you to say, hey, be smarter with your food choices, you dumb motherfucker. I'm health. I asked for a banana, and you're still feeding me a Diet Coke. What do you think is going to happen? Or maybe you're not that bad off yet, but you're just a little overweight, and your blood panels are just shy of perfect, and you're just starting to get, cholesterol or maybe high blood pressure. It's just starting. And that's your body at that point just, kind of quietly, hey, there's the beginning of a problem here. Put down the Diet Cola eat an apple. Something like get more sleep, start thinking better thoughts. Your stress is killing me. All those kinds of things. And your body is like pleading with you because it's on your side. It wants to heal you and make you better again. But you're eating hospital food. Boy, that doesn't sound right. It's like you're eating hospital food, you should be getting healthier, but that's not true. Hospital food, most of it is really very toxic. I'm blown away with the shit that they feed their patients. I'm talking whoever puts that shit together should be in jail, should be absolutely prosecuted. I'm talking class action lawsuits by millions and millions of people have been done an incredible fatalic disservice by the medical community. And I don't blame the staff and the personnel. I'm talking about the leadership of the American Medical Association. Those assholes, they prioritize profits among the value of a human being. The leadership of the American Medical Association, that motherfucker, I'm talking decapitation. The whole head needs to come off and be completely replaced with new leadership that is unfettered by politics and pharmaceutical and basically unfettered by anything except putting the value of a human being first and profits second. That's what needs to happen. I mean, if profits come first and the value of a human being second, they'll just continue to profit off of making people sick. It was discovered in 1920 something after the Flexner Report, which was the beginning of the end, that as a business model, to put profits first, give somebody pharmaceutical graded medication, you can make them sick for life, therefore they need the medication for the rest of their lives, and wow, every person is now a cash cow. You get somebody with diabetes by the time they're like 20 years old, that's $2 million profits we're going to make from that person per person for the rest of their lives. You get someone when they're a child, childhood diabetes, you could have a $3 million cash cow in that kid. That's what it is. So as of 1928, I believe, that's been the model. And that was also the same time, 1928, from then forward, the herbologists and things like that, the naturopathic people started going out of business. And now they're coming back slowly, but they are coming back, however, painfully slowly. But that's the deal, man. The American Medical Association, off with their fucking head. And I use the F word as passionately as I possibly can because what they're doing is unforgivable, it's unredeemable, and we need to stand up for ourselves. Most people are dim, dumb, slow and stupid, and very egocentric. Ego, I know, because how many people are going to take that criticism and not get a big head about it and get all self-defensive? But I've got incredible standing to say it. Just look around. 8 out of 10 people die from complications from chronic diseases brought on by their lifestyle choices. That's absurd. We have 3-year-olds being prescribed antipsychotics. We have kids as early as the 3rd or 4th grade being diagnosed with intermedial thickening of their carotid arteries. The number one demand for casket makers, people that make coffins for people that have died, the number one spike in demand for them is to make short, wide ones because our kids are fat and dead. And that's the worst of it. An adult can make a decision to be ignorant. An adult can make a decision to not be ignorant and still choose to live badly. Totally fine with that. But kids are at the mercy of, they don't know anything else except what we expose them to, what we show them, what we teach them, and what we teach them by our own example. And our kids are fucking dying. That's not redeemable or forgivable. That's absolute nonsense. But, that falls on us. We've got a lot of blood in our hands, man. And this information, by the way, these solutions, you can look this stuff up. We see our doctor leading by example. Yeah, this stuff is going to happen as you get old because it just comes with old age, as they're chugging a Mountain Dew and eating a plate full of pork fats, and they might have a side of poisoned vegetables because they're not organic. Look, it's hard to believe I'm saying all this stuff, but it's true. But, man, where was I going with that? But there's nothing stopping you from doing your own research and acting more like a person rather than a patient. It's time we act like people, not like patients. You can go to Google is now an action verb. You can Google stuff. You can look stuff up. You can find out about the power of nutrition and what to eat and what to stay away from. You can use that to help you learn more about yourself and what you respond to favorably with and unfavorably with. And everything that happens is just feedback, right? But who does that? Most people don't do that. And the majority of people that do look for stuff are just looking for the negative, and they're focused on the problem. And there's stuff you got to sort through when you're doing free research because some of it is garbage. But if you're focused on the solution, it makes it really easy to sort through all the garbage to find out stuff that's really good, legitimate, and stuff that works for you personally. Because after all, different things work for different people. But there's nothing stopping you from getting on that path. And there's nothing stopping you from sharing this video that maybe other people really need to hear these messages to get on that path of at least carving out their own path and finding solutions, right? We don't, I mean, we don't have to follow really bad examples, whether it's by our doctor, because doctors are revered so much because they're doctors, or whether it's a layperson. I mean, we've got a mind of our own, and we can seek out our own referral or put together our own network of who we're going to put on our team. What, for medical treatments, medical doctors are the best. For nutritional stuff, gosh, nutritionists. And we can find people that are going to work together with each other, even if they're outside of their box of expertise. It's called teamwork. And who benefits when people act as a team harmoniously? You do. Actually, the whole team does. And that's a beautiful thing. But who's thinking in terms of putting together a team? Not very many people. But you can do it. There's nothing stopping you. It's free. It's free. So money is not stopping you. It's free. We're so deep in the information age. It's not the lack of the knowledge that's out there. It's out there and it's free. So then what else could it be? Laziness? I mean, anything that's easy to do is easy not to do. You can go to a library. That's easy, but it's easy not to do. And nowadays you can just go online, and there's so many places that has free internet connection. So it can't be money stopping you. It can't be anything else. I can't think of anything else except that laziness, pride, arrogance, ego. I don't know. We're so deep in the information age and free information that it truly is a choice now to be ignorant, to act without knowledge. So I don't know what the deal is, but are we just that apathetic? I don't know. I really don't know, but I know that we can change it. So that's the first part of the solution, is to start doing your own research and to rise up as a free-thinking person. Not because some long-haired freak on a video told you to, but I mean, that's the seed I want to plant, is not to tell you what to do, but to plant a seed of expanding yourself and start thinking for yourself. I mean, really, because that, like I said, that rhinoceros is so big in a tiny little living room. You just open your eyes and start looking a little bit, you're going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe this, right? And then we can place a new demand for our medical community. And here's the next part of the solution. This might be the biggest one of them all. The first one leads into this one, being a free-thinking person, doing your research, finding the rhino in the living room. There's a lot of them, actually. And then you'll be inspired to start spending your money differently, because what you spend your money on is you saying to industry, give us more of that. And what is it that we spend our money on? Most of us spend our money on produce that's been grown with poisons. We're saying, give us more poison. We're saying, if you keep poisoning us, we will keep giving you our money in exchange for poisoning us. We will keep lining the pockets of people who are already rich to make them even richer in exchange for them poisoning us. How does it feel to give your money that you worked hard for to people that poison you for it, and you keep doing it every frickin' day? How stupid and self-destructive is that? Stop doing it. Line up your mouth and with how you spend your money. I mean, that's so huge. And it's not just produce, it's just food in general. We routinely buy, whether it's produce or canned goods or whatever, we spend our money in ways that fuel a demand to keep giving us more poisons, to keep destroying the earth, which is our home, which is where we grow our food from. Eventually we'll have no earth left to grow any food, and then what? And the treatment of other creatures that we are also sharing the planet with. When we buy factory farm stuff, we're saying, give the world more tortures. We haven't tortured enough chickens or cows yet. That's factory farming. It's also a few local farms too, but you got to source this stuff out and then spend your money accordingly. Most people who are at least thinking about it will say, yeah, but the organic is more money. Okay. Well, first of all, money shouldn't be your priority. I mean, if you really think that way, then you're thinking in the same terms as the American Medical Association, who's really working with the big pharmaceutical industry and chemical companies who have a profit motive, who have placed profits prioritized ahead of the value and the care of a human being. I mean, that's what you're saying when you're weighing money against the health and wellness and the nourishment of your family, when money wins out against that. I mean, you're just like all those people that are making money making you sick. So put the health and wellness of your family and the planet and other people ahead of money. And just spend a little bit more money. Just do it. And you know what? Government subsidies. If you're a farmer growing these poisonous foods, you will have up to 40% of your income subsidized by the government. That's why it's cheaper. If you're an organic farmer and you grow food that helps people promote health, then you get no subsidies. And you have to pay lots of fees just to be able to say that you're organic. That's why there's a price difference at the grocery store. And when you consider that, the price difference is really small. The organic farmers, they're eating a lot of that cost. It's tough being an organic farmer in this country. In this country, the government, via pharmaceutical and chemical companies, we are financially incentivized to poison ourselves. And we're financially punished for eating good, healthy food. But you know what? On average, the person that skimps out and gets the cheaper food will go on to spend 6 figures, that's $100,000 or more, on healthcare related costs because of their decision to buy the cheaper food. In the end, it's not cheaper at all. It's going to cost you everything you want and then some. You're going to file for bankruptcy. Your worry when you're really sick, laid up in a hospital bed, isn't even going to be on getting healthy. It's going to be on, oh my God, how am I going to afford this? When it should be on getting healthy because you went for the cheaper foods. It's stupid. So don't fall for that trap. That's really bad. And by the way, remember what I said about the whole supply and demand thing, what you vote for, you're saying, give me more of that. Well, imagine if enough people started spending their money on the organic farmers and supported that and said, give me more health and no more sickness. Industry follows. The government subsidies, they would be reversed. And suddenly the cheaper food would be the healthier food. And the unhealthy food, I don't even think it would exist anymore. There would be no reason for it. And pharmaceutical, they'd be put in their place because we need them. We need pharmaceuticals. We need the medical community. But they need to reprioritize the value of people and make that the priority and profits secondary. I love profits. I think profits are wonderful. It just has to be to the benefit and to the value of people and other creatures on the planet and the planet. And that's not where it's at right now. They profit and we fuel that demand, like it or not. It's a fact. We fuel the demand for the value of us to be secondary to profits. Why do we do that to ourselves? Because we act dim, dumb, slow, stupid, arrogant, egocentric. That's how we act as a people. Not to demonize anybody. That's why I don't say that's who we are at our core, but that's how we act. So I don't say that to demonize or judge anybody. I'm saying the solutions to all of these things, which would have a domino effect over every aspect of our lives and our country. The solution is to rise up as free-thinking people, do our own research, be our own advocates, put together amazing teams of amazing people, and probably most importantly, it boils down to money. Line up how you spend your money with your values and quit saying that, oh, it's just a little bit more money to buy the good food. But you know what? We have to go through that to solve this problem. And we can come out the end and everything's going to be much better. And the organic and the healthy foods is going to be cheaper. But we have to go through that process. We have to go through that the change, growing pains is what they call it. We have to grow up and mature emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, all those things, if that's ever going to happen. We just have to go through those growing pains. And we can do it. You can do it. You can be part of it. And if you believe this message, this video is worth sharing at 23 minutes so far, click the share button. Get this out there, man. This thing is so important. It's not about me. I don't do it for myself. I'm doing it because I really do give a damn about this whole planet and all of us and all the creatures on the planet. And I'm sick and tired of seeing people, lots of people, suffer needlessly and die prematurely and all these other things going on when it's just totally preventable and at this point reversible. Obviously deaths aren't reversible, but the people that are still living, it's reversible. You know lots of people that are not going to be around 10 years from now because of how they are health-wise. Imagine if we caused a new revolution in how people think, which led to how we spend our money differently. That changed everything. So if you feel this is worthy, share it. Go watch it with somebody else and talk about it. Digest it together. Talk about what you're going to do differently, like what you're going to spend your money on differently. I mean, that's how we're going to change this whole paradigm. We're not going to change it by verbally protesting and picketing and ranting on Facebook and wherever else. We're not going to do it by any of that stuff. This video will only be worthwhile if it invokes some different, better action from you out there. So share this video, get it out there, and let's cause a revolution. We're only 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 100 people or whoever is watching this, but every massive revolution throughout the history of the world that's ever taken place started with just a few people with a really great idea that caught on. You know what I'm saying? We can do it. Kings and queens have been overthrown by such things like that, by such people like us. So let's just do it and quit bitching about our problems and be focused on the solution, because it's in our grasp. All right. Thanks, everyone. Share this video. Bye for now. More coming soon. I'm Tom Birkenmeyer, by the way. TOMBIRKEN as in Nancy, M as in Mary, EYER. So feel free to look me up too and see more of what I'm about. I've got a lot of messages that are in this vein of health, healing, happiness, and change that needs to happen. Some breakthroughs. Bye for now, everyone.